Hello, my sweeties. You have officially made it to chapter 11, Sleeping Beauty, which is the last and final chapter of book 1, Druid Born, of The House of Nine Chronicles. I hope you have really enjoyed this series. I have enjoyed sharing it with you. This is certainly not the end of this series. This is just the beginning. I just got to finish editing and working on the other book, but I have just been working on other things for you guys, such as getting some merch together on my Patreon if you guys are interested. I've also been wanting to start vlogging again. I kind of missed vlogging and, kind of just doing my daily life thing. And of course, I also have my other series, Let's Have Coffee, which I'm also working on another episode for that as we speak. I recorded it, I think, was it this one or the last one I recorded? No, this one was the second one that I recorded the weekend after Christmas. I just haven't gotten a chance to edit it yet because I was working on other videos and this one. So I'm hoping to have that up by next week. So look forward to that. And, of course, I'm still, I got a list of people that want to be guests on my show. I just got to get our schedules situated and figured out, and our own personal lives. We all have stuff going on, but sadly this is the last chapter of book 1, so I really do hope you guys have enjoyed it. I know I've enjoyed sharing this with you, and I will be getting some stuff up on my Patreon. I know I promised to get my sketches up. I've been struggling working on some of my sketches. I do have some done, and I just need to do the final touches on them, and I've just been struggling doing that. And so I've been trying to work on just trying to have fun and work on some sketches so I can get back into that and just kind of get into it. But I also have another project that's underway, which I bought my new camera for, and I'm actually going to maybe do a little bit of vlogging today and take my new camera with me and just test it out and see if I can figure out how to use the bloody thing. And it's so tiny, it's adorable. And just get that together. And this intro is way too long now. So please enjoy this chapter, and I will see you in the next set of videos. And take care. Love you. Bye. Disclaimer: this content is rated R18+. There may be cursing, blood, gore, and sexual content. This content is for entertainment purposes only. All rights of this product belong to the original owner of the work, Wyona A.M. Copyright: all work in this video from our audio written book belongs to the original writer, artist, Wyona A.M. This video is for entertainment purposes only. To contact the original artist for use of products shown or heard in this video, contact at YouTube channel Wham times 3 vlog, Instagram Wham times 3, Twitter at mx3_WA, Facebook page Wham times 3. The program used to edit this video was Adobe Premiere Elements 2020. Kelly looked through her notes from the mission that Angela gave her, or was it someone else who used Angela's image to give her this information to find? Like Claudia, even. She sighed and ended up writing Claudia's name and put Queen with a question in parentheses. Haha, thank you for the compliment, you pathetic girl. Kelly jumped up and looked around the room, but no one was there yet. She could have sworn she heard a woman's voice, and not just anyone's voice. The voice of the woman who birthed the triplets, who was the lady of the mansion. Kelly stood and walked around the room, stepping into the bathroom and looked in the mirror, only to find, instead of her own reflection looking back at her, she was face to face with Claudia Butaki. Her green eyes piercing through Kelly's purple ones. Claudia's long black hair danced down her curves. Her large breast looked even bigger against her small waist, and the top of her hips curved below the mirror's rim. As sex goddess of her time, a woman whose beauty could make any man or woman fall to their knees in lust. But she was also a cruel, heartless woman. Kelly didn't know how she understood this, but her instincts and eyes never let her down. Well, if it isn't the lady of the manor herself. Kelly gave a slight bow. Although, I am curious, what do you want with me? Last time we met, you tried throwing me out of the manor by force and were stopped by your beloved son. And then you tried to rip out my heart, only to be interrupted. Kelly's pride raised a few notches as the woman glared at her in spite. With you, nothing. She shrugged, the move being unusually sexy. I just want something that belongs to me. And I have it. Unfortunately, yes. She sounded bored. So maybe it was a good thing you weren't successful in throwing me out then. I see why my son likes you. You are a quick thinker. What is it that I possibly could have that's yours? Straight to the point, I see. I see your charm hasn't changed even after all this time, Claudia mused. Well, I guess it is more than one thing after all. Kelly stepped forward, and so did Claudia, except she stayed in the mirror. It wasn't an illusion, and who she was looking at was not a ghost. But she was dead, wasn't she? Kelly remembered the scene of Leto ripping out her throat and sending her into the flames. You have not only my heart, but my son. Kelly had to scoff at that, crossing her arms. How do I have either of those things? I'm not more but a toy to your sons. And once they're done with me, it's back to the streets or maybe even the grave, where a drowned rat like yourself belongs, cursed Claudia. Her words stung, but Kelly wouldn't let her know. She simply rolled her eyes. Exactly. Agreeing was better than arguing, especially if she got the answer she needed. So, what exactly do I have of yours? Fine. Since you went direct to the point, then I'll go directly to the point. She practically cursed. My heart. Your heart? Kelly nearly laughed. How do I have such a thing of yours? This is none of your business. Well, if I have it, then it is my business. Claudia just glared back. How do you know I am in possession of your heart? We wouldn't be speaking at this moment if you didn't have it, and I wouldn't have been able to escape that damn prison Leto put me in if it wasn't for the fact you're here. Prison she escaped from? Kelly did vaguely remember Leto mentioning a box the last time she and Claudia had come face to face. Since the day you entered this mansion, my strength has been returning day by day. Claudia looked at her hands. A chill ran down Kelly's spine. So why did you try to get rid of me if you knew I had it? I didn't know you had it at the time. My mistake. And what if this is yet another mistake? It is not. I realized it when I saw that scar on your chest. Kelly looked questioningly in the mirror. Claudia separated her breast, revealing a large scar. Kelly did the same, and there it was, plain as day. The scar she had had for as long as she could remember. A flash of falling from the cliff, the red-haired boy reaching for her, crying out to her as darkness took her. Kelly's chest burned with the memory. Impossible. Is it? My beloved Richard cut my heart out and placed it in a baby so I could be reborn. Unfortunately, she looked disgusted. Ended up being in the new body of my enemy. Your enemy? Kelly almost laughed. She'd done nothing to this woman. Don't you remember? You were the wretch who lived in that god-forsaken cabin by the cliffs. You stole my son's heart then, and now you're stealing it again. Kelly was very confused now. How could she be someone from the past? Now, why don't you give me back my heart, and you can go where you belong? You're still convinced I have your heart. Didn't we just go over this? Claudia was getting impatient. Maybe Kelly could use this to her advantage. I am talking to you, aren't I? And I am supposed to be dead. Kelly shrugged. Not the most unusual thing I have ever seen in my life. I have talked to many ghosts before. Your abilities are unique, but it does not matter. Kelly crossed her arms, trying to hide the fact she was shaken up by this encounter. It seems the new body you were born into gave you some new powers. I did seem rather intrigued by Kelly's abilities, like seeing things others cannot. Don't you remember what happens to a pureblood when their body is burned? Kelly asked, patting herself for not sounding shaken. Their souls are lost. Ah, yes. But thanks to my Richard, a part of me did not get burned. Claudia mused, touching the scar. There was a knock at the door. Petron, are you okay? You better hurry and get to the point about this. Kelly was getting impatient. Is that a threat, pathetic girl? Possibly. After all, what would your son say about you taking the body of his current lover? Petron? Leto was actually sounding a bit worried now. Please. I am just here to get what is rightfully mine. And what is rightfully yours? That heart is mine. That isn't possible. I was born with this heart. The only damn reason I have this cut is because of my father tried to kill me when I was still a baby, Kelly snapped. Really? Asked Claudia before a sharp pain filled Kelly's chest. You see, that heart belongs to me and me alone. Kelly screamed in pain, her chest feeling like it was on fire. Kelly? Leia went to open the door, but found it locked. Then he heard it. Kelly's agonizing screams echoed through the mansion. Terror filled Leto as his brother Ayato appeared at his side. It's locked. And we're not human, answered Ayato, slamming into the door, which shattered into a million pieces. The heart belongs to me. Give it back. Kelly's locket started to glow. Then a gold dragon appeared, coiled around Kelly. What? That can't be. It growled and attacked Claudia as the door shattered. The mirror smashed. Kelly fell to the floor. The golden dragon slowly faded. Kelly! Leto screamed, dashing to catch Kelly before she landed in the shards of the mirror. She didn't seem hurt, Leto observed, watching her. He had placed her on his bed, her dark hair spread out across his green-covered sheets. If it wasn't for the slight movement of her breath, he'd think she was dead. Her heartbeat was so quiet, though, and she was cold to the touch. Petron, wake up, he whispered into her ear, but she didn't move. Petron, if you don't wake up, I'm going to have to kiss you. And she knew from experience how perverted Leto could be. Kelly didn't move. Leto leaned in and gave her a passionate kiss. She still didn't move. He tried nipping her ear. It always got her up, even when she was so exhausted a bookshelf could fall and she wouldn't move. Still nothing, she was getting colder to his touch. He didn't like that at all. Naito threw another comforter over her, tucking her in tightly, and waved his hand, making the fire in the fireplace glow even higher. Is she still not responding? Asked Ayato, walking in, putting his phone back in his pocket. Naito shook his head. And she's cold. Ayato touched Kelly's cheek and frowned. What did father say? He's going to Ayase and say, what do you think happened? I don't know, but something activated the protection spell on her necklace. Ayato gestured to a locket, which was still glowing. Ayato sat down on the bed. And here I thought it was just as useless as that damn cross. Ayato tried to joke, but it didn't brighten the mood. Reggie walked in, Teddy in hand, and looked curiously at the girl. What do you think happened, Teddy? He asked, putting the bear so it could have a closer look. You're right, she is pale. Leo and Ayato looked from their triplet brother to Kelly and had to agree. Kelly often had a tan from training in the day with Nicholas, but now she was as pale as the vampire brothers themselves. Don't worry, Lito. Kelly is the most stubbornest person here. She won't give up so easily. Ayato's words didn't help, though. Lito knew she was stubborn. That was part of her charm. However, he couldn't guarantee how strong she was. Lily! Kelly watched through the trees as the childlike Lito ran up to an older version of herself. No, it wasn't her, but she knew the woman. It was her mother. She was wearing Renaissance-style clothing. It was a dark green dress with a brown lead belt and white blouse. She was carrying a basket of herbs. She knew the grounds. It was just on the other side of the lake by the cliff. She could see the mansion in the background, except it was a castle again, not the mansion, built using what was left of the castle. Prince Lito, how have you been doing? Mommy's been making me practice the piano. I guess it's better than trying to be the best at everything like Ayato. Oh. Well, Ayato is the next heir, so he has to be the best at everything. What about your brother Edgar? Lito shrugged, taking Lily's hand. I guess Mommy thinks Ayato will be the heir because she is father's first wife. Lily seemed to have a concerned look on her face. Was that why Ayato was the way he was now? His mother forced him to learn everything the heir must learn so he could become the best of the best. Kelly walked through the trees, following the sound of a metal hitting metal, and there was Ayato, fighting with the dark-haired man from before who had been flirting with Claudia. Richard was his name. Ayato fell to the ground, and right on cue came Claudia herself. Ayato again! I regretted his mother, but got up and started fighting with Richard again, but he kept falling, and every time he fell, Claudia's rage grew. She walked up to her son and grabbed his car, dragging him across the grass and threw him into the lake. If you can't be the best, then you are no use to me. Mommy, please, I can't swim. The boy went under the water. She just watched as her own son drowned. Kelly called out for Ayato, then Lily jumped into the water and pulled out the boy. What the hell is wrong with you? She demanded from Claudia, who looked furious. Teaching my son how to swim. Claudia walked away. Ayase's healing waters danced along Kelly's body. She's still alive, but she is fighting something. Fighting? Aya looked up questionably as triplet brother Litos sat next to him, watching Kelly worryingly. It was so out of Lito's character, but this was his life mate they were talking about. You said the mirror shouted when you walked into the room? Lito nodded. I heard two voices coming from Kelly's room. She was talking in that strange language when she is speaking to something. Sei looked up questionably. Sei, the sage, was a small Chinese boy dressed in traditional clothing with dark sunglasses, like someone who was blind would wear. It's part of her abilities, explained Ayase to the sage. Not only does she see past our masks and can see what we really are, she can also talk to objects and look into it at a time, seeing the secrets they hide. I am sure this place holds many secrets, said Kane, the wolf who was Sei's bodyguard. He was a werewolf whose human form was a muscular man looking about in his late 40s with peppered hair that grew whiter every year. He was one of the oldest werewolves and was the head of the werewolf clans. She seemed to be arguing with it and didn't answer me back. Then her door was locked. I looked up from that. Kelly never locked her doors since she moved to sleep near Lito's room. It's quite pointless after all. We broke in and the mirror shattered. Mirrors can be gateways to other realms, commented Sei. Could something have gotten to Kelly through the mirror? Asked Ayato. His brother looked up at the two elders with concern. Possibly with her abilities, anything is possible, responded Ayase. After a few hours, everyone left. Ayase and Sei went to do some research. Ayato went to talk to Nick and increase security. Lito kept kissing Kelly, hoping it would cause some kind of reaction from her, but nothing. Frustrated and irritated, he lay down and went to sleep with her in his arms, and hoping something would wake her again. Lito found himself walking through the underground waterway. He did enjoy this place. Cold, dimly lit atmosphere, the perfect place for a predator like him. Would his Petra not like this place? Would she cling to him? No, she was stronger than that. She probably would enjoy it just as much as he did. He found himself smiling at the thought of them being down here together, her voice echoing off the walls. A familiar scent caught his attention, his face turning serious as he realized why he recognized the scent. He'd been so busy thinking about Kelly's voice reverberating off the walls, he hadn't realized that he had passed that room. He retracted his steps, curiosity leading him as he faced the room where his heart had been broken. As his triplet brother laid in a cell, broken and dying. Something seemed wrong, though. This wasn't how the room looked now, old, abandoned, no longer used. No, this was new. The bars glinting at silver much like they did when the castle stood, and these cells were used often. He smelled the air again and smelled the familiar earthly spice that was his pet. Petron, he called. Don't you call your mother by such an obscene nickname, her alluring sing-song voice retorted. Leo found himself instantly under her spell. He stepped closer and his eyes widened at the sight of Claudia chained to the wall. So the tables had turned, had they? He mused, looking her up and down, her green, captivating emeralds much like his own, her long, wavy black hair flowing down her sinful body that would make any man, or woman for that matter, fall to their knees in lust. But that nickname wasn't for you, Mother, he cooed, his slender frame leaning against the bars and concrete wall just out of her reach. He had inherited his demeanor from her, capable of seducing any sex who simply looked at him. And what are you doing here, anyway? Shouldn't you be sitting at the gate of hell by now? Well, I guess I got turned around, she chuckled, some irritation hidden behind her cheerfulness. After all, it was her beloved son who had killed her in the first place. I was waiting for you, actually. She batted her eyes seductively, her voice slow and memorizing. It takes a liar to know a liar, dear mother, Leto mused. What do you really want? He smiled devilishly. Her beautiful face scowled in disgust briefly, but she quickly regained her composure. Oh, I am lying. Aren't you lying about caring for that dear girl? That's pretty cold even for you. Leto's brows rose in question. After all, didn't I teach you well? To be such a good, honest boy, have you fallen so low? Claudia teased, hoping to get under his skin, but she seemed to have forgotten who'd inherited the family's blue tiger. Ignoring her statements completely, he took his Petron's charm and cut to the chase. How do you know about my Petron? You could say she and I are closer than two sisters, she said it matter of fact. You avoided my question. Do you love her? Oh? I guess I just have so much love in me, he shrugged. I can't just keep it to one person. He hoped using her own words would work, and it did. He could tell her rage behind the seductive mask she used. Oh, you must have noticed how rich her blood is, she said with pride. Doesn't it taste, I don't know, a bit familiar? A horrible feeling rushed over Leto, infecting his very being. The beast within him growled in rage as his Mascacinus side loved every bit of the thought of it. His sadist side jumped with joy. It filled him with joy how his Claudia got to watch everything he did to his Kelly. He licked his lips to his mother's horror and started laughing. God, you don't know how much that turns me on, thinking about that, he said with excitement, pressing the bulge in his pants against the bars so she could see his reaction. Does that mean we are having a threesome every time I claim her? He moaned. Are you jealous, Mother? Just because I love Petron doesn't mean I've ever stopped loving you. She's my favorite bitch, but you're far from that. My love for you puts her to shame. Her hand rested on his as she moved closer, her matching emeralds gazing into his with passion. Please, Leto, help me escape. Let us be together again. Leto smiled lightly. Even if it were a lie, he did miss hearing her say those words. However, his Petron wouldn't run away with other men like his mother would. She was loyal to only him. I need you to break her spirit. Once her spirit is broken, I can come back. I doubt her spirit can be broken so easily. After all, she is a survivor, he said thoughtfully. Leia wouldn't dream of her and Kelly, except for the sake of giving her pleasure. Being rough with her, teasing her, but destroying her for the hell of it? That he couldn't do. If Claudia could take over her body, did that mean he would lose his feisty little pet forever? You asked me for help before, remember? She quickly backed away, holding her hand to her chest where Leto couldn't help but look at the cleavage. He knew it was true. He did miss her, but why would he kill the only person he ever truly cared about, who cared for him in return, whether she admitted it or not? After all, she was his life mate. She made his tiger be still, wanting to claim her over and over again. No woman or man had ever been able to do that, not even Claudia, the daughter of the first blue tiger. Sorry, Mother, no can do. What the hell? Why the hell not? Because you're better off dead, where you can only be mine. Karma is a bitch, after all. He walked away. Leto awoke, thinking about his strange dream. Was it true? Was his Petron and that woman fighting over the same body? He rolled over in his bed and found Kelly still out, but she was feeling a little warmer when he kissed her gently and was thankful to see his pet slowly stir awake, her eyes their usual purple as she looked at him through half lids. Yay, my kiss worked! Your kiss? Yes, my sleeping beauty, he mused. Your Prince Charming woke you. Kelly looked at him confused. What do you mean? You seem to have had an argument with your mirror. And who won? She answered in sarcasm. I'm not sure. The mirror is shattered, and you've been out for a couple of days. Kelly thought over what had happened. Then a sickening feeling filled her. Leto leaned down and kissed her again. Leto, He asked as he moved down her neck, kissing it gently before licking it, being prepared to sink his fangs in. Was there someone in the mirror? He rose up deep in thought. Not sure, actually. She could tell he was keeping something from her. Lito, please don't lie to me. I'm not. I don't know exactly what happened. I just suspect. And what do you suspect? I think I'm going to bathe you. Then feed you, he announced, and pulled her off of the bed and into the shower. He enjoyed washing his Petron's hair and then soaping her small curves and rinsing her off, soon taking advantage of them being naked and soaking wet in the shower. Petron. He turned her to him and kissed her passionately. She answered reluctantly as he lifted her up, her legs wrapped around his waist as his length slid into her womanhood. They both gasped at the connection. His hands went around her. Her nails dug into his back. As he did a gentle rhythmic pace, their lips locked, moaning into each other. She clawed his back as he brought her into one after another orgasm before he pulled out and came down her legs, which was quickly washed away. That's better, he sang, bringing her to him once again. He easily slid into her before he sank his fangs into her flesh, enjoying her rich blood. She gasped and shuddered. Her fingers tangled in his hair, and she clung to him. They moved together, not being able to help it. And you swore you didn't do anything to me while I was asleep, correct? Kelly didn't believe Lito's innocence. After all, she had been out cold in his room for the past couple of days, and he was the biggest pervert in the whole world. Of course not. Who do you think I am? He asked casually, walking down the hall. Oh, I don't know, maybe Lito Bertagi Clark, the biggest fucking sadist pervert to ever exist? Kelly shot back. She could tell by his tone he wasn't telling the whole truth. No, just watched my cute Petron sleep. Oh, and tried to wake you with kisses, which worked, by the way. He chuckled, giving her a wink which only made her blush and get more irritated as they walked into the dining hall. Lito, she grabbed. Although, I did take a cute picture so I can always remember my sleeping beauty, he said, pulling out a picture. You are rather cute when your nipples are hard. Give me that. She tried to jump for the phone, but Lito lifted it out of her reach. Damn him for being taller than her. Why, it's my little keepsake. Fine, keep it then, she growled, walking into the kitchen as Leia leaned against the door frame looking at the picture. Then again, maybe I will sell it to a Playboy. They could make it into a spread. He moaned at the thought. I could post it all over the mansion so everyone can see. He gasped dramatically. Give me that fucking picture, she tackled Lito. Well, nice to see Pancake feels better, said Ayato, walking in on the scene and picking up the phone, which had slid across the floor. Ayato looked at it curiously, Ruki glancing at it over his shoulder. Ayato looked at it, Nick glancing at it over his shoulder. It was a picture of Kelly asleep with her clothes off, except a black and pink lace thong, her breasts bare and her arms above her head. Huh. Pancake does have breasts after all. Then again, these seem to be too perky. I think you've photoshopped this, Lito. I don't think so. Kelly does have breasts, and she does work out, pointed out Nick, trying to defend. Don't give me that. Kelly tried to tackle Ayato, but failed, and instead of catching Nick, both fell to the floor. Lito took the picture from his brother. Maybe I should enlarge it. He put it up into the air. It would make a good dining decor, don't you agree, Ayato? Needs more breasts before then, and maybe with her legs spread instead of closed. You fucking perverts!